Hello, everyone. Welcome back to On Location here. Today I am at Lake Isabella. This is a very small little lake here. It's about 74 acres in total for the park here, and it's most commonly used as like a paddling and boathouse, as is right next to me here, and like canoers and kayakers, and it's also very common as a fishing lake. They really stock the lake pretty well, so a lot of fishing people come here a lot. And but I'm actually here for wildlife photography, and this happens to be one of the better spots for getting this particular duck that I'm here for this morning, in terms of in autumn and winter months, and that is the hooded merganser. So it's a pretty common duck species here in Ohio, that you can find this time of year. And there's usually about a dozen or two, 2 dozen maybe or so, hooded mergansers that like to, hang out at this park. And they basically are here for a few months and then they leave come spring. So today, as you can tell, I'm trying to be really quiet. I got some camouflage all wrapped around my camera here, and I'm basically staking out this particular spot right next to the boathouse, like I said, right off the edge of the shore here. And I'm just kind of watching their movements and their behavior. It's just after sunrise here, but unfortunately, I got kind of skunked in terms of the light. It's very cloudy out, and it looks like it's just going to be an overcast day overall today, unfortunately, but still trying to make the most of it and get some images and some video of these birds as they carry on with their daily life and everything. So yeah, just kind of got a few of those images already, and I'm going to try out for some more, but since it is very, very dark, it's definitely a little tough, just given that I have to really have a very wide aperture of 6.3 and a high ISO because of just how dark it is, especially the part of where I'm pointing at here on the lake. It's definitely just a much darker portion as I zoomed all the way out to 600 millimeters. Yeah, but I think it's a nice backdrop. There's a little bit of some snow-lined trees and kind of like driftwood that's kind of pointing out into the lake here, that I'm trying to like include in the composition sometimes. Of course, when it lines up perfectly with the mergansers themselves, which just really gives like a wintry kind of almost autumn feel, just with the browns and oranges, very dull oranges at that, that are next to it. Yeah, just kind of waiting for the opportunities where like I can single out one or two of them, make like a pair of them into an image here, and hopefully if I be quiet and still enough, that I can get them in a nice closer kind of composition or whatever. And even just some behavior or something, like them kind of doing their call where they like puff out their chest and look up to the sky. I think that would be really cool. Or just even them drying off and flapping their wings as they swim about in the water here. But yeah, that's basically what I'm going to be doing for the morning here. Like I said, 74 acres. It's a pretty small park. There is a small little trail I might check out later this morning, but I think the majority of the video is just going to be me sitting down here, hunkering down and trying to get some images of these mergansers. It's the best opportunity. I've birded here quite a few times in the past, and this is probably the best opportunities I've found all year, to be honest. I mean, you might get some warblers in spring or fall, but these mergansers are like pretty photogenic if you get lucky with them. So it's kind of interesting because it looks like the lake is partially frozen, but it's like frozen in the very center of it, in the middle. And so there's like mergansers on both sides, the far end from where I'm at, the opposite end that is, along that edge of the lake. And then there's these closer ones that are, I guess, on this side of the lake. So it's just kind of like an interesting perspective, and it's like I can choose to focus, I guess, on either the further back ones or the closer ones with this, as they just swim about, literally. But yeah, they're kind of like keeping their distance, but I usually don't do wildlife photography like stationary like this, basically having a tripod. I almost never really use a tripod with wildlife photography, but in this case it just makes the most sense instead of hand holding it or laying down in a prone position. So it's just one of those things that I just like to be, I guess, I'm more on the move, especially since wildlife generally likes to be on the move a lot too. You know, as the sunrise is getting there, it's starting to light up a lot more. Chill morning, as you can see, it's pretty cold. It's like, I think 25 degrees maybe. I think the high today is just over 30 degrees or something. So it's gonna be a pretty cold day. So laying here is kind of can be a lot sometimes, unless if you have layers on. I don't know if you can see this, but it's kind of hard because I have to like level the horizon, of course, with the tripod with the horizon. That's all the way out here, out in the lake. But as you can see, it's like I'm kind of on this sloped gravel, the edge of it, I guess. So it makes it a little bit more difficult to really get the images right in camera. By right, I mean perspective-wise and level with the horizon. I can always edit that stuff in the video and post, but, it's nice to minimize however many headaches and stuff, or just extra work, I guess, to really do that sort of thing. There was a great blue heron over on the other side of the boathouse, which I'll check out in a little bit. And then, belted kingfisher, blue jay, crow, bluebird, wrens, Carolina wrens. I haven't had a winter wren yet this year for winter. And just your typical stuff, robins, goldfinches, white-throated sparrows for winter here. So as you can see behind me here, there's also like a little dock or whatever you can fish or, I guess, launch your watercraft from. I've taken shots of the mergansers there in years past. I haven't done it today, and it's full of snow. As you can see, there's a thick layer of it, probably about an inch or inch and a half deep of snow there. As you can see, I'm on foot now. Got my cotton carrier. My setup normally, my binoculars are on now, and then of course the telephoto lens and camera. So now I'm wrapping around the lake here, as you can see, just looking at the edge. I'm going to try out here. I don't really walk around this way too often because there's usually a lot of people fishing out here, and I don't know, I don't want to come into contact with them, honestly. But I'm going to go all the way to the point down there, if you can see all that snow that's all the way out there, and see if that has any good opportunities. That was pretty cool. I actually did see the heron a little bit further down here. I'm walking towards where he was. emphasis on past tense, on the past tense. He just flew back. I guess maybe I was just a little too close for him. You know, he seemed a little cautious, but now he's all the way back where I started over here at the boathouse, which is whatever. I did get some video and some photo of him, or her, you know. It's interesting seeing these birds, you know, and they're kind of more duller, I guess, plumage. It almost acts as, of course, as camouflage for, you know, the more less colorful, I guess you could say, times of year, like winter, where everything's much more gray and brown and just kind of darker and duller colors for the most part. And so it's interesting seeing these birds. Even the same with the mergansers, the hooded mergansers, that is, with the female ones, and how they just really blend in with the entire landscape here. I feel like it's pretty interesting. And how it almost occurs miraculously and almost naturally, which is pretty sweet. So yeah, it's kind of interesting seeing this side of the lake, actually, considering I never have really gone over here. It's actually pretty cool. As you can see, it's a decent sized lake, like I said earlier. So it looks like the hooded mergansers are, you know, swimming back and forth a little bit. They're kind of in the middle of the pond now. I don't quite know what that means for, you know, maybe I haven't fully given up on them yet. But now they're swimming back away from the boathouse. You know, but they're staying, the flock or whatever they're called, the group, they're staying closely together. So it's hard to get, I mean, I could get a group shot, obviously, but like it's hard to not make it feel cluttered, like visually speaking, just by having a bunch of birds in the frame and making it look more like a documentation shot. So I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm hearing some flickers up on the tree line here. This is the other side of the lake that I'm going on. So it goes over on this side here, and then came from over on this side. So we're on the opposite end from way past over there, that the on the other side of the boathouse, as we make our way on the other side of the lake. And you can really, as you can see, you know, there's no snow really on this part, thankfully, so it's not really like slippery or slick. But you can see you can go pretty far down if you really want to on this kind of like sloped rocks and gravel. So I'm on the trail up here, kind of like on the hill. Get a nice vantage point and a view of the lake itself. I can really see pretty clearly the hooded mergansers, because when they're swimming along, I don't know if anyone else has like thought of this, I guess, or how to describe it, but they seem really flat, like flattened as they swim about. So you really have to look for kind of like the miniature, I guess, waves or whatever, the ripples that are from them swimming around and everything, the direction they're going and everything. Carolina wren was like eye level. Unfortunately, I didn't really get an image of it, or at least a great one because there's a lot of branches and stuff obscuring it, which is pretty unfortunate. But you know, you can see there's just like some brush here. They have some tree plantings and these little enclosures and these cages. Some green leaves actually in this lower part of the canopy here, and then you just got a mixture of different trees, even a coniferous one over here, some kind of pine or cedar, I guess, sycamore right there, and some much taller trees which are having lots of starlings in them, some nuthatches, even a cardinal or two. I think on my way back, I'm probably not going to take this trail back, but I'll go out to kind of where the entrance is. There's another parking lot down here, kind of like a boat ramp launch area. It just gives you another angle and view of the lake itself, and probably go down here and wrap around the edge of the Little Miami River, so that way we could see that part, and just see if there's any birds swimming along in there, some ducks or waterfowl. Okay, so now I'm on the other side of the lake here. Pretty nice views as well. Like I said, there is a parking area that's just beyond this little wrap around the lake here. Just kind of checking out the views of it from here. Just seeing different possibilities maybe in the future. Not quite for today, but I guess this is sort of turning into a scouting session a little bit more, unfortunately at least. But just seeing kind of like where sunrise, sunset would be given the time of year and the angles of what potential light there could be. I would think from this side you'd probably get more of a backlit situation with any kind of like a waterfowl subjects that would be in here. So now I found this cool little hole off. Yeah, actually, as you see, I'm underneath these like highway bridges, and there's some big icicles hanging from them. So I should probably move away from this in case it melts. It is getting a little bit warmer compared to recent days at least, but yeah, get some nice views of the Lower Miami River, all snow lined along the edges and stuff. And I don't know how far this little trail goes, but this is actually like a new part for me. So I'm going to actually see how far it goes and where it goes. So this could be pretty interesting. You might get some stuff along the edges here of the different, like the waterway and then the tree line over here. Quite possibly my favorite river in the entire world, if I'm being honest. Little Miami State Scenic River just flows through where I grew up in Dayton and now here in Cincinnati. And it's just always, it doesn't look like much, it's not like a huge, it is a big river, given that. And it's the first designated state scenic river in Ohio, I think in 1969, I believe. But just the overall, I don't know, it's just beautiful. And it weaves in and out and throughout so many of these parks and preserves and everything that I'm so accustomed to going to for, nature and hiking and photography. And it's just such a nice, beautiful river. That's a nice waterway that provides, outdoor recreation, filtered, drinking water, of course, and also just the conservation and, beautification, really, of wildlife and habitats. So it's just nice to see it. And it's got this, distinct smell to it. I don't know why. It's kind of a stinky smell, actually, a little bit, but it's just got a smell that I can't quite describe, but it makes it uniquely that, and so got a nice little cascade right here. It's not super deep. It's probably about a couple inches maybe, or a foot deep, but a nice little cascade behind me here. And I think that's a good way to wrap up the video here. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video here for the morning. It was pretty nice. Didn't get too much bird activity besides the heron and the mergansers, the hooded mergansers, here at the earliest part of the morning. But yeah, the birds just aren't quite cooperating. Like, they're singing and I can hear them, but it's just they're not really getting eye level quite as much. I don't know, it's maybe these tall trees around me here or something, or just the given the day, but it's just not really quite working out, so, which is totally cool. So we did get a couple of photos of some different species, like I said, and still a nice little morning walk out here in winter. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. This has been Lake Isabella. Until next time, make sure to get out here. Thank you.